to play golf one day, but he lied about it because he was supposed to be preaching at church. And he told them that he's got a huge assignment to do, he can't come in. So he went to play, but he was playing alone. And on the first hole, he scored very well. And the third one, he scored very, very well. But on the fifth hole, he made a hole-in-one. He couldn't tell anyone. Good evening and welcome to Talk with Rams Live. It's Opportunity Tuesday. I am highly excited about tonight. Excited for three reasons. One is that now the show officially starts at 7 o'clock, no longer 7:30. But here's the funny part. I was Temba. I forgot that we're starting at 7 o'clock. I almost came in at 7:30. Reason number two is that tonight's show, it is super packed with three amazing features. And I'm excited about that. But feature number one that I start with is one of those things that remind me of how people can lift as they rise, how they can do something for somebody who could never thank them, even if they tried. And that's the opportunity we have for you tonight. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Talk with Rams on all the platforms. Please do follow, subscribe, and like us on those platforms. We are also on WhatsApp for voice notes. It's 0672718239. Only voice notes on that platform. When I finish this first interview on Opportunity Tuesday, we're going to have a clip on the quickie that we pre-interviewed earlier, and then we have our motivation talk with Dr. T. But now then, let's get to tonight's talk, the first Opportunity interview. African industrialist Adam Molai has launched a $1 million US. I need to repeat that, $1 million US fund to provide entrepreneurs with capital to kickstart or expand their enterprises in a massive boost for startup businesses in Africa. And he joins us tonight as our very first guest. I'm going to say Mr. Molai, but you know he's a friend, so I call him also Adam. Good evening, my brother.
Good evening, Rams, and thanks so much for having me on your show. Highly honored. I think every young man around the continent always aspires to someday make it on your show. And here I am. I'm on Ram's show. So thank you for having me.
And he is modest too, but also a very generous human being, I'll tell you that much. I had lunch with him. I thought it was just a lunch meeting. It was actually lunch. It lasted 3 hours and I had good food. Thank you for that. I'll never forget. It stays in my head forever. But let's start with Adam Molai. Who is Adam Molai?
Rams, I'm just a young man born in a very small township called Tombo, in a very small town called Marondera, in a very small country called Zimbabwe, but in a very big continent called Africa. And I think that really is who I am. I'm really a young African like all of us who grew up spending his time every holiday herding cattle like all others of my age, going to the fields and doing all the things that all others do. So really, I believe I am just a caricature of our history of Africa, either brought up in the townships, either brought up in the villages, and really trying to make whatever we can of this time we've been given that is called life.
But Adam today is an industrialist. You are in global businesses really, not only in the continental business. I mean, I've seen the kind of businesses you're in. How did it all start?
You know, Rams, I always had the entrepreneurial bug. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. He was, and it sounds funny today, but he was one of the first Black Africans in the town that I grew up who was given a license to be able to buy clear beer. And, he started his small retail shop back then. My father also was in retail, so I grew up in retail. And, I used to always look for little opportunities of shortages selling where there was matches, whatever it was that was short supply. I'd always be there, and that's when I discovered the art of arbitrage. I didn't know what it was called. All I knew was when something was in short supply, you can get more money for it than the market dictates, and the differential, that's my profit. And going through high school, it was the same. I mean, I was always selling to make my pocket money. For some reason, my father made sure that I never had pocket money. So I think it really forced me to have to think and make a plan for myself. If I wanted something, I had to make a plan, work, make the money, and do it. Through university, my first university stint was in the UK. And again, I was able to get into network marketing, and we're selling frozen food from brochures. And in a period of a summer, Rams were able to make £25,000. This is back in 92, when the minimum wage then was £2.50. And we're able to get all sorts of other university students who were in summer, recruit them, and they were also selling across. But I always say to people, I don't know if it was great selling skills or whether it was because at that time there weren't many from Africa in that little town. So people wanted to get me off their porch as quickly as possible. So they'll quickly sign whatever I was selling. So I don't know. Maybe it was good selling skills. Maybe it was people wanting to get me off their porch. And, I then moved over to university in Canada. And again, there I had a fantastic opportunity. They had what they called the small business consulting services across all the universities in Canada. And the one at the university I was at was the last one that was still in place. All the others had closed. And I got an opportunity to work there. I got an opportunity to rebuild this consulting service until we had to rebrand it to a management consulting service, because we started consulting to municipal government, provincial government, and even federal government. And up to today, there's actually a scholarship in my name at my alma mater, because I left an annuity of $50,000 that up to today still gives a young Canadian student a scholarship. And that was from my time at university. So I've always been entrepreneurial. I get back to Zimbabwe, my country of birth, and I didn't join formal employment. I went straight into business. My first business was a chicken business. And I remember then my family greatly worried, and they were worried many times, because here I was doing a business that most people without even a grade 7 education were doing, rearing chickens. But I had a different model for it. We basically converted chickens from a special occasion meal to an everyday meal, just by selling it as chicken pieces. Back then used to be sold as full chickens. And that's how we got into the chicken business. From there, got involved in my father's old retail store, where I cut my teeth in business. And it had been leased to somebody else, reopened it, started operating that. He had another little service station out in a rural outpost, and there again, we got that started. We got involved in a foundry operation where we're making those three-legged pots, the famous three-legged poikies that we have all over Africa. Yep. So we're making the three-legged pots, we're making the cast iron irons that you put charcoal in there, we're making the cast iron furniture, as well as those light fittings. So then I always felt as a continent, what we were doing was just not right in selling our goods as raw materials. So Zimbabwe's main export crop was tobacco. So I said, I know nothing about tobacco, but we partnered up with an old tobacco farmer, and we started up initially a tobacco processing business, which was just processing the tobacco stems, because we couldn't afford to buy tobacco. It was just too expensive. And from there, we were able to grow that business until eventually we got equipment to start manufacturing cigarettes. And from there, we're able to expand that business to go across the region and start initially exporting, and then started setting up manufacturing hubs in all the different countries in which we operate. But I remember another occasion I'll share. I mean, at that time, we got the license for a Shell franchise. And there was a very big office which was used by the former owner. And I looked at this and I thought, look, I've been in retail. Let me convert this into a retail shop. And we converted it into the first 24-hour retail shop. You know, my mother, I think she was so worried as to what's happened to my son from coming from Canada. His father was a retailer. They opened at 7 in the morning, closed at 7 p.m. Who's going to buy at night? But if I tell you, Rams, 60% of my sales happen between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. So it means the sales I was doing were 2.5 times what my father used to do just because I added extra time. And at that time, there were no 24-hour shops where I came from. And we did roaring business. I mean, we even had a liquor license. We had people driving 70 Ks away from Harare to come and buy liquor at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning. How they gave us a liquor license at a service station, I don't know. It was back then, but, you know, it happened. And, you know, so, yes, that's been our journey. We've then since gotten into property development. We've then since gotten into, because of COVID, we spawned 2 businesses that were to support, you know, the COVID. So in terms of masking, in terms of travel kits, we've gotten into logistics of fuel. We then got involved in the tourism sector. So yeah, we've been having lots of fun and you know, trying to make a little bit of a difference by creating employment, creating value, and making sure that we change the narrative. The single story of Africa, which was the continent of disease, the continent of poverty. And we have to change that story and start writing our own narrative of what we can do for our own continent.
And as we speak today, your holding company, TRT Investments, by end of 2019, Adam, had assets under management worth $125 million US. For that, congratulations. And I wish when I speak to you in 2 years, it's $921 US, and then it becomes billions. Now, let's go to Jua. Jua Kickstarter. What is that? What are we talking about?
You know, Rams, as I was saying, one of the greatest challenges on our continent is that we've always had a single story. And the single story was that as Africans would be sent to school, would learn and pass school so that we can become a lawyer, an investment banker, a teacher. And never was there so much talk about entrepreneurship. We were always designed to become the means of production, the people who worked in industry, not the people who created industry. And I want really to say, to inspire other young Africans. As I said, I grew up in a small little township in Zimbabwe. I spent my best years in a small rural communities where I used to visit the villages, to visit the grandparents. And there's so many Africans who grow up in the township today, who grow up in the villages today, and who don't believe they can do it. And I want to be sharing a story that tells them that they can do it, right? I've walked their path. I've seen and experienced what they're experiencing. And my journey, as much as it's not a story of a huge success story, but it's a story of hope. It's a story of what is possible. It's a story of what we are able to do as young Africans. And it's a story of me never having gotten into formal employment, but always having worked for myself as an entrepreneur and saying to other young Africans, they can do it. So for me, one of the most important ideas behind the Jua Kickstarter is to inspire other young Africans that they can do it too. And the second one is to also now start walking our talk. I've talked ad infinitum about the need for entrepreneurs to be responsible for the resurgence or the creation of a new Africa or the African Renaissance. Mm-hmm. And we mustn't end with talking. We must walk our talk. And my walking that talk is by saying, let me play my small part by availing $1 million US to support Africans on the continent to create and grow businesses and to support entrepreneurship and to facilitate that story that I'm saying I'd like to see across the continent. So be the change that you want to see in the world, as they say, right? And that's the change I'd like to see. I would like to see a prosperous Africa, right? I would like to see an Africa that takes its place on the global economic table and is removed from the global menu. Today we're on the menu. Everybody's saying, how do we exploit Africa? Now, unless we start producing for ourselves, unless we start contributing to global production and productivity, we'll never be taken seriously. We'll always be that continent which is there for everybody else to enjoy than us as Africans. And that's also part of what we're trying to do. We're trying to also make access to capital a lot easier. Before, to access capital, it's rigorous today. You go to the banks, you need collateral. But the only collateral I have is my idea. So immediately I'm knocked out. You go through a laborious process of applications. You get filling that form. 2 months later, you're asked to fill in the same form. 3 months later, you're filling the same form. And it's a circuitous process that doesn't result in the end product, which is to access resources to create the business. So these are all the things we're trying to address through JUA Kickstarter. And we want it to be a simple process. We want it to be a transparent process.
Tell us about how does it work? How do people apply? How does it work? And what are the limits? I mean, how much can I apply for as an individual business or as a Kickstart?
We've created an online process. So you access our website at www.jua.fund.
Yes.
And on that website, you are then able to complete the application form. And we available in terms of communication through Twitter at JUA, JUA_fund. We're also available on LinkedIn at JUA Kickstarter Fund. And through all these channels, it eventually takes you to the online application process. And we then have, at the end of this, for the month of December and January, we're taking in applications.
Okay.
Thereafter, we then go through a process of reviewing all these applications until we end up with probably about 100 of the best applications. In terms of impact, we want projects that are going to have significant impact on the continent, something that addresses significant problems on the continent, right? We want impact in terms of employment. We want to make sure we're investing in things that are going to take the continent into the next leap, into the fourth industrial revolution. So those are the kind of initiatives we're looking at. It must be impactful. It must change or help to change our continent.
Is the nowadays when I talk to people about new funds or new projects, there's always the focus on youth. Do you have that limitation, or is it open to any entrepreneur irrespective of age?
So long you're an African, you're eligible. Even if you're an African in the diaspora, you're eligible. So long, even as an African, you are producing to put Africa on the map, even on other continents, you're eligible. So it doesn't have to be producing products only for Africa, but even producing products and services that are for the rest of the world. As I said, that's how we'll get our rightful place on the global economic table.
Adam, do you know what you're creating here? I mean, is your server enough? You're going to get 1 million applications, let alone that it's only $1 million.
You know, as I look at this, Rams, the Chinese say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step.
Yeah.
This is the first step. And through this first step, as we improve the processes, as we improve how things operate, as we get our fellow brothers and sisters to also invest in the Jua Kickstarter Fund, having benefited from it, we will begin the snowball effect. We will grow the fund, and eventually it will have even more impact. But we have to start somewhere, and that $1 million is the start. But over time, we see it growing until eventually it starts to make more than the ripple that the $1 million is going to make.
Wow. And folks, by the way, just for the record, so that we all know, Jua is Kiswahili. Yeah? That's Kiswahili, the language that we should have adopted in this country. I'm still regretful that we don't speak Kiswahili in South Africa, but it stands for sunshine, sunrise in Kiswahili. That's Jua. So please go to www.jua.fund and make your application, make your bid. It's a $1 million. Adam says it's not a lot of money. I say it's a lot of money from what I know entrepreneurs go through. Even if all you access for your bid will be $1,000, it can kickstart your business to something huge in the next decade. Do not miss this opportunity. I think what TRT are doing here, what Adam Molai is doing here, is something we need to celebrate. But the best way of celebrating is to apply. Adam Molai, I don't know what to say to you. I'm just moved. I'm so motivated, my brother. I think that we need to call you even more to talk more about your story, just beyond Jua.
Thank you so much, Rams. As I said, it's been absolutely great being on your show, and keep up the great work. I mean, what you're doing for entrepreneurs, I don't think you also realize the impact you're making. So keep it up, and let's keep everybody motivated, because entrepreneurship is a mindset. And so long we have the right mindset, we will definitely achieve what we need to achieve.
Thank you so much, my brother. Have a great evening further.
Thanks very much, and thanks for having me on your show.
Now, folks, speaking of entrepreneurs, you want to listen to this story of somebody who started their own small beauty salon and doing fantastically well. And on the other side of that talk with them, we're going to meet Dr. T.
My name is Grace Lachwayo. The name of the business is Gateway Beauty Salon. My business was established 2019, 15th of March. It's 1 year, 8 months. That now includes, I would rather say 1 year full, because on the 26th of March this year, it was locked down. We're at home for the full 6 months. So I don't know, do I have to add the plus 6 months? Okay, it's only 8 months. Okay, what we do at our business is we work with beauty. We offer manicure, pedicure, medi-pedi, that's the nails, acrylic, and the gel nails. We offer facial. We make people beautiful. And our treatment, we don't bleach people, we just make your face be beautiful. We offer waxing also. We remove all the hair, but except the head. You have to go to the salon, to the barber shop for that one. And then now lately, we're busy with the lashes. Male customers is 3 to 5%. Mostly it's ladies, and I don't know why, because this is for everybody. Marketing business, that's my big problem. At the moment, I do it on my own, but it's not good at all because what with my girls, what we did, the only way that now the people can get hold of us, we use our physical address. That is, may I give it to you? Okay, it's 32 Broadworm Street. That is in Acacia, in Karen Park in Acacia. That is just behind the Wonder Park Mall. If it's Wonder Park Mall, it's just behind the people, they know that. Other means of marketing, we use our email address. That is info@gatewaybeauty.co.za. Other means that we are struggling is our Facebook, our Instagram, and our Twitter. And as I'm that Magogo as a problem, and we're getting people. I might be wrong. Is it because we are ladies only? They will come and say, Magogo will help you there and there and there, and then people will just run away. We are trying our utmost best, but we're struggling with the marketing. That is why I had to ask you to please assist me, because at least there's a lot of viewers that will be listening and that will be able to hear from the radio and say, oh, there's a place like this, and then will come. We also do have our website. People do come, but not as they are supposed to. I'm really struggling when it comes to marketing. That's our downfall. Our business is so special in this sense. Even before and even now after, as now the president said, we must comply. At the door, we have a sanitizer. We've got that temperature thing. We check the temperature. And then when you get in there, friendly staff that I have that assist. I've got 3 ladies, including the admin. Excluding the admin. So when you get in our place, they take good care of you, and then they give you the treatment that you need. Including that, we do give something while they're busy with your treatment, something to drink. So am I allowed to mention or what? Because, okay, we offer water, wine, coffee, tea, juice. We try by all means to keep our place tip-top, by all means. Okay. Our telephone number, the landline, it's in Pretoria 012 549 0773. That's the landline. Our cell number 076 487 2430. That's our cell number. And then also we have our Facebook. That is now Gateway with a capital G. Gateway, capital B for beauty, and then capital S for salon. So it's just Gateway Beauty Salon. That's our Facebook. We have our email address. That is info at Gateway Beauty Salon, one word, small letters, and that is .co.za. We also have, did I give the Twitter? I gave, okay. Twitter is Gateway, capital G, Beauty, capital B, and Salon, capital S. And then our website, it's www.gatewaybeauty.co.za. Oh, thank you so much.
You know her music. You love her and support her. But there's much more to Limpopo-born gospel star Dr. Winnie Mashaba. And tonight, Talk with Rams Live will bring you the story of the rise of this idol and how she has built an empire and taken care of her fortune. We call it Fame and Fortune. So join us tonight at 7:30 p.m. to learn about Dr. Winnie Mashaba's relationship with money and get lessons from her about taking care of your fortune. Or else, uzoyithola kanjani?
My name is Grace Lachwayo. The name of the business is Gateway Beauty Salon. My business was established 2019, 15th of March. It's 1 year, 8 months. That now includes, I would rather say 1 year full, because on the 26th of March this year, it was locked down. We're at home for the full 6 months. So I don't know, do I have to add the plus 6 months? Okay, it's only 8 months. Okay, what we do at our business.
Sorry, folks, we had to repeat that clip. I actually had connection issues. It's got nothing to do with anybody else. But that's the story of Gateway. That's the story of people who start a business and they thrive in spite of all their difficulties. And we want to hear your stories. Please send us your email, admin@talkwithrams.com. We give you the same interview as we gave Tato, and we want to promote your business. That's what we do on every Tuesday, promote small businesses. We hope that Adam Molai will fund them. We will promote them. That's what we do. So what else do we do on Tuesdays? Well, we have Dr. T on Tuesdays, and we discuss things that will move you to your next level. And tonight, Dr. T, we're talking about the winning mindset. Or am I getting it wrong? Good evening to you.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm dark and lovely, Dr. T, and how are you?
No, I'm good. No, you've got it right. It's the winning attitude, which is actually a very core part of the mindset. Yeah.
Yes. So, Dr. T, we've been talking about, teams, building winning teams, and and how they work. But ultimately, really, even if I have to be in a good team, I need to have the right attitude of a winner, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't matter that the team is good. If I don't have that attitude, the team is lost.
Oh, absolutely. Because Rams, the human being is always administered centrally from his own brain. You can be inspired from the outside, but you are administered internally. it's fundamentally up to the decisions that you make yourself in terms of engaging external stimuli. That is what determines your outputs in life. So yes, indeed, you can be a part of a winning team, but if your personal attitude doesn't measure up, your output will be compromised.
So, Dr. T, are we here talking about, when people talk about, for me, attitudes and stuff like that, I always think about a decision that I've taken. It's a settled way that I have taken about something. Is that what you're talking about here?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. An attitude is a settled way of thinking or feeling about something, We can also look at an attitude as a manner, a disposition, a feeling with regard to a person or something. Actually, it's a tendency or orientation of the mind. So you can have a negative attitude, you can have a positive attitude, you can have a threatening attitude, a relaxed attitude, and you can also have a very uncooperative attitude or a defiant attitude.
Yes.
I'm sure there are places where you've gone and you got serious attitude.
Well, lately where I see a lot of attitudes that scare me are at the Zondo Commission. I see some attitudes there that scare me. But let's not go there, Dr. T. We don't go there. But
Sure.
As you say, so attitude can be good, can be bad, can be neutral.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like a cat, a cat just ignores the rest of the world. A cat lives in its own world. Very, very, very unresponsive, very uncommitted to anything. It just does its own thing. It's got a very hands-off type attitude. Unless it deems something important, then it engages. So attitude is very, very much like that.
Why and how is attitude important?
Well. Look, there are two keys that I'd like to speak to concerning attitude, because I think if our viewers and our listeners today can catch this, it will really help empower them in terms of how they experience life. I'm talking of effectiveness as well as the qualitative experience of life. The first one is that your attitude is important because it is the state of mind in which you approach a situation. It's the same you, the only difference is your attitude, which you can control. So it is that state of mind in which you approach something, you approach a situation. And that is why most of your, your high stakes environments, like I was watching the Manchester City coach, Guardiola, there are clips on him on YouTube, of him on YouTube talking to his team at halftime, you will see, he places a demand on a positive attitude, on a mental state, certain mental state of mind of all his players. He demands a certain attitude with which then they engage, whether it's the first half or the second half, So your attitude is important. It's the state of mind with which you approach a situation. That's one. Secondly, while attitude is a mindset, it is seen in body posture, in words, in actions, and it's entirely within the control of the individual. So you see, it's one of those things that you entirely within the control of the individual. That's the powerful thing about an attitude. You set it up in your mind, right? But it's totally in your control, and yet it is seen in your behavior output, whether through posture, words, or actions.
Amazing. Wow. I like the fact that it's entirely, because then I have no excuse. I am in charge of my attitude. That's
absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. That's one thing that everybody owns. Everybody owns their attitude. You don't outsource your attitude to anybody else. You entirely own it, 100% yours.
I like that. So, as I have known you over the years, Dr. T, there is nothing I have ever spoken to you about that does not have key principles. So I'm sure the winning attitude also has its own key principles.
Absolutely, absolutely. You see, we are all about empowering people, and to empower people, you need to give them the foundational principles. Then they can build their own building out of that. But you've given them the pillars, and they can use the pillars to construct a structure of their choice. Right.
So, does it start with? I always say, Dr. T, I look at whatever I do. Whatever project I get involved in, whatever thing I try to do, and even if I'm proposing to a fund or something like that, I always say, I start with self-belief. Is that the way to start? Because if I don't believe in it, I never do it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You see, self-belief is a great winning attitude strategy. If somebody wants to have a strategy for their attitude, it must begin with a positive self-belief. Remember, we are our belief systems. Nobody argues with their belief system. We argue from our belief system. And that is why people believe what they believe, and they act out their beliefs to a point where people are willing to die for what they believe, because people don't interrogate their own belief systems. Rather, they act from their belief system. So if you can have a strategy that encapsulates a winning attitude as part of that, it must begin with you having a positive belief. Just something from as simple as saying, I believe it's going to be a wonderful day, right? Or I believe I can successfully handle all the problems that I'm going to face this day. That helps you to feel good mentally, physically, and emotionally. Why? Because you get what you condition yourself to be and do. So you can literally change the character of your day by starting off with a positive attitude, a positive frame of mind. That is a choice. It is a choice that you make as an individual.
So is it true, Dr. T, that we are, or we project to the world who we truly are?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You see, the science of human behavior, Rams, is very clear and very plain in terms of the fact that we project ourselves. We don't even see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. You see, that is why everybody always speaks from their own worldview, from their own frame of reference, And another interesting thing, by the way, is that when you look at the neuroscience of human behavior, our natural state is always with our guard down. And that is why what people say when they are relaxed is what you need to believe. If you really want to believe to hear what a politician believes, take away the microphone in the crowds and just sit in a circle, and just have a conversation. Because the natural state of human beings is with the guard down, so we really reveal who we are. It takes effort. The moment we are conscious of an external stimuli or an external environment, then our guard comes up. Then we gather ourselves. Then we are not really projecting who we are, but we see the world as we are. And that's the point. So our attitude is very critical, because if we can work into our psyche a positive self-belief, a positive attitude, that is what we project to the world. Even if our guard is not up, it just becomes who we are.
Oh, by the way, I need to tell the folks that we are not on Instagram in this part of the conversation, because I have technical issues. So the phone that I use for Instagram, I'm now doing this interview on that phone. So sorry, folks, we're gonna have to go to YouTube or Facebook to catch us. And then, Dr. T, the issue of reward in terms of a winning attitude. When I have a winning attitude, am I likely to get more rewarded than what I'm worth?
You see, the interesting thing on that point, Rams, is that people who never do any more than they get paid for, never get paid for any more than they do.
Okay. I get you.
So people who actually don't ever go beyond whatever they are paid for will never get paid for any more than they do. And that's why it's important to to have a winning attitude that goes beyond what's in it for me. And that's always the challenge. We live in a world of what's in it for me. I remember one time I was on a journey, I was driving in one of the neighboring countries, and my car started to overheat. It overheat. So I stopped in a village and I asked for water. The first thing the lady says, she can see, man, I'm struggling, it's hot and the car is overheating. I'm like, can I please have some water? She says, well, if I give you water to drink, what will you give me to drink? Oh. I said, so believe me, I had a lot I would have blessed her with, but I was like, no, forget it. It's just not going to happen.
Strange.
Why? Because the attitude says, what's in it for me? So you close down the avenues of blessing into your life. If you are always approaching life like that, you will always get paid for what you put in, and not and really not for anything else. That's the point.
In fact, someone once said to me, Dr. T, that if I were that lady, if I gave you the water, I've already extended a huge possibility of what's in it for me, because you're going to think, how am I going to thank this person? So you may even go beyond what you thought you would give me.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I was very prepared for that. But you see, if you are in a challenging situation and you're expecting humanity out of someone, and the next person sees an opportunity for gain and actually places a demand instead of being human, you see, nobody has to pay for water. I mean, it's not even an African thing. It's a global humanity thing. If you come to my house and you ask for a drink of water, or I can see that you are having challenges with your car, all you need is just 1 liter to point to the radiator and you are on your way. I will thank you because it means so much to me, but I don't think it's something that you can actually demand. That is why, those who never do any more than they get paid for, never get paid for any more than they do. We all need to have that attitude that must go beyond what's in it for me type thing.
Excellent. And then, Dr. T, the reality of life is that there's always adversity, there's conflict. I want to do things, but there's somebody working against me. There's somebody who's trying to make sure that Talk with Rams doesn't happen. How do I keep a winning attitude in a space of adversity and conflict?
In fact, it takes a winning attitude to be stronger than the adversity. You see, because a successful person, Rams, is one who can lay a firm foundation with the bricks others have thrown at him or at her. It takes a very strong person to be able to take adversity and animosity and build on that foundation as strength. I remember one day I was listening to a man with such a positive attitude. His name was Dr. Martin Luther King. He says, Bull Connor came at us with hose pipes, and with the water cannons. He says, but he didn't understand a certain transphysics that we were a part of. If we were Baptist, we had been sprinkled. If we were Methodist, we had been immersed, but we knew water. So he says we're not intimidated by the cannons because we were not strangers to water. And then in another portion, he says, look, even if you beat us, we will love you. Even if you hate us, we will love you and we will break you down with our love. You see, that's a man who has decided on the fact that he will have a winning attitude no matter what you throw at him. So whatever you give to him, he takes those bricks and makes a foundation that's so solid that even you, the hater, want to stand on his foundation.
Wow. What aptitude, Dr. T? My ability to do stuff. Is it, I've always been a critic of, I look at job advertisements and they emphasize, a lot of education and stuff like that. And that's why I'm a big fan of, this thing called recognition of prior learning. Because I always say to people, but aptitude alone is not enough. Am I on the right path?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, we've got a saying that says it's not your aptitude. That means it's not your skill, your ability, or talent, but rather your attitude that determines your altitude. You see, everybody experiences life or lives life and engages life at a certain altitude. For some people, it's an altitude of depression. For some people, it's an altitude of disappointment. It's an attitude of blaming everybody else, for your own challenges. But you see, for you to have the goodwill of life, for the universe to line up nicely and lovely for you, it's not your aptitude, but rather your attitude that determines your altitude. You'll find that some people may not have the necessary requisite skill, but they have a good attitude. You'd rather work with someone who has a good attitude than someone who's got the skill and the qualification and the paperwork, but they have a stinking attitude. That is a no-no on a global scale.
Now, one of the things that I battle with in life, Dr. T, is the people called pessimists. I can't deal with those people. I have a problem with them because I truly believe they have no winning attitude. I'm a kind of guy, Dr. T, when I play golf and I hit my ball towards the water, if I don't see a splash, I still believe I could find my ball.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You see, Rams, a pessimist by definition is someone who, regardless of the present, is disappointed in the future. That's why pessimists are so difficult to deal with, because it's got nothing to do with the present. Their disappointment is in the future, and so they live life on a present continuous state of disappointment. And that's the challenge, because no matter what you do, it's difficult for the body to cash a check that the mind hasn't written. So a pessimist does not have any positive check that the mind has written. And so for them, they're always in a negative. And people like that will drain you. Again, it's the issue of attitude. It's an issue of attitude. We need to be able to take responsibility for our attitude, because it's ours. My attitude is mine. I'm the one who decides. Do you know, Rams, that even if I went to a place where I'm not recognized maybe for who I am and for what I've done, if I have made up my mind that I'm going to have a good attitude, if I rock up there and they tell me, Dr. Tando, please go and clean the toilets, if I have already determined that I will have a positive attitude, believe me, you can't spoil my day. So it's not really about the external circumstances. No, it's about the fact that I have made a decision that I'm going to have a great day, no matter the outcome of the external stimuli. You see, that's the point about it. So pessimists are so disappointed in what the future holds that they don't have time to enjoy the present.
When I determine my success, Dr. T, or my path, and about where I want to be, how great I want things to be, are you saying to me it starts here?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You see, the powerful thing and the greatest discovery of our generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their state of mind. You see, when you understand just the composition of the human brain, the fact that we've got the neocortex that looks at all the executive functions and makes decisions, and you've got the limbic brain, where your feelings are, and then you've got the basal ganglia that takes care of your survival. You understand that the quality of life that we live, Rabs, has a lot to do with our mindset. It really has got nothing much to do with the externals. I have seen billionaires and multi-billionaires who are depressed and they commit suicide. And yet there are people who you would call poor by any standards, who live a life of peace and joy. And the question is then, what is the difference? Because when you look at it externally, you would think that, well, the wealthy guys must be living their best lives and the poor guys must be living their worst lives. But no, it's up to the internal state. The poor guy has made a decision that I'm going to be content with everything I have, and I will make sure every day brings joy to me. Whereas the guy who's got everything is so troubled and can have a very, very compromised quality and value of life simply because their mindset and their attitude is not in the right place.
Dr. T, sometimes it's not my mindset. Sometimes it's not even my attitude. Sometimes I just wake up on the wrong side of the bed.
Right. This is my point. Nobody wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. Of the bed. I know some people say, "No, my bed has two wrong sides." No, we wake up on the wrong side of our mind. That's the point. So we wake up on the wrong side of our mind. Why? Because attitude is a choice. So we can make it wisely. And here's something powerful, Rams. Do you know that offense is always offered? And we decide to take it. Offense is never given, is never forced on anyone. Offense is offered. Look at everybody who's always offended you. They offered it, and you made a decision to take the offense.
Yes.
Once you make the decision to take the offense, then it starts working negatively on you. But what if you decided not to take it? Remember, the word decide is the word D, which actually means decision, D, and then side means to kill off. So that word D is options, and then side is killing off. So the word decide means killing off options, like suicide, the killing of oneself, homicide, killing of someone else. So when you decide to take offense, you eliminate any other option except the fact that I need to receive, and I'm going to grab this offense and own it. But guess what? With every offense, you could ignore it, and you could decide not to take it. Even when we speak, what do we say? We say, I take offense at that. I took offense. Literally, your brain extends a double hands and grabs offense from the other person and then experiences the offense. Why? Because you decided, you killed off every other option but to take the offense. So we start off on the wrong side of our mind, not on the wrong side of the bed.
I hear you, Dr. T. I hear you. But then what happens when, I have found that, we all work with people. We never islands. And sometimes you work in a team and somebody is wrong. And I know I'm right. And I believe they just don't want to listen because I'm right. What do I do in that case, Dr. T? I mean, this person is wrong and I know I'm right.
All right. Now, it comes back to the principle of the bigger person. Now, I remember when I first went into coaching and I was training to be a master coach. It's quite a long process. And you're studying a lot of neuroscience. One of the things that my mentor said to me in that direction was, you need to be able to give up the right to be right. You see, a lot of people struggle to give up their right to be right. So relationships suffer because I need to be right. Not even the fact that I'm right. No, I need to be right. And so I fight for the right to be right. Whether it's about the money or it's about the TV or it's about where we are going for holiday, or it's about clothes, or it's about we all step into our corner and we fight for the right to be right, and the other person fights for the right to be right. Whether it's a business, it's a business, environment, or it's a romantic construct. Either way, our biggest challenge is that we always fight for the right to be right. What if, Rams, within a team context, within a relationship context, within any type of transaction we do, what if I gave up my right to be right? What if you gave up your right to be right? How much of quality relationships would we have right across the strata? You see, a winning attitude knows when to give up the right to be right and say, no, it's okay, I don't have to be right, let's build forward.
Wow. And what does it do for others around me, my positive attitude? What does it do for them, the others?
Oh, you see, a positive attitude always demonstrates and it exudes enthusiasm. You see, someone who's got a positive attitude is someone you want, man, on your side. That must be your wingman. That must be your wing woman. That's someone who's got your back, and you know you can have their back, because even when the chips are down, they are going to fight for it. I remember Al Pacino talks about the law of inches. You know, he talks about inches. You know, I've all talked about the law of inches, where in this movie, Any Given Sunday, where he's talking about the fact that as a team, the inches we need are all around us for us to score that try. You know, it's American football. I don't know if it's called a try. He said for us to score, we just need these inches. They are around us. We claw, we fight for the inches, you know, and you step out for the other guy to give him the inch, and the other guy gives you the inch, and those inches result in us crossing, the other line. So a positive attitude, is so attractive because it cements teamwork. It helps you close ranks with others, and people know they can count on you, because when the going gets tough, you are not the first one out of the door. You're not the one who says each man for himself and God for us all. No, you're saying all for one and one for all. That's someone with a positive attitude.
Okay, Dr. T, I'm out of time, but I need to ask you this.
Yes,
I have had a torrid decade. The last 10 years, things have gone wrong. I've tried this and that. All ventures go wrong. Some I put money on and they bombed on me. I'm almost 50 years now, Dr. T. Can I still afford a positive mindset?
Hey, that's a powerful question, Rams. I want to say, my brother, that it's not too late. You see, every place can be a beginning place. Every place can be a beginning place, and it's never too late to make that decision, to say, you know what, let me cultivate a winning attitude. Let me begin from here. Let me start from here. What do the Japanese say? I think the Japanese, they say the last best time to plant a tree was 25 years ago. The next best time is now. You see, if we had that mindset, guess what? We would build instead of destroy. We would build the continent. We would build our families. We would build our businesses. We would build everything around us, because you understand that if I can start from where I am already altering the outcomes of the future, because it's never too late to cultivate a winning attitude. Today is the day, my brother.
Dr. Thando Sibanda. Oh, my brother. Oh, you make my days. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, man. I always look forward to these opportunities. Thank you, sir.
Folks, you take this winning attitude, tomorrow is a new day. I promise you, tomorrow is a new day. Do not forget to apply for that JUA Kickstarter fund. It's very important that you do with a winning attitude. Go and apply with a winning attitude, because if you don't do that, then I promise you all the investment that Dr. Thando Sibanda is making on all of us would be wasted. And we don't want to waste that free investment he's making onto us. Let's not waste it. Dr. Thando Sibanda, always beautiful to have you, and have a great evening further.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And folks, I promise you this, those of you who like Instagram, if you don't find IGTV of this conversation by tomorrow, blame a guy called Freddie, not me. I got nothing to do with it. He's going to package it and put it on IGTV so that if you missed it, you'll get it on Instagram. I've done my bit with my winning mindset. It's Freddie's time now. So from me, Rams Mabote, good night and God bless.